Back on Sports Bet Betting Insight today. Time for Big Game Breakdown. Tonight from Toronto. Play-in game, number one American League, the Orioles against the Blue Jays. Blue Jays, $1.50, 8.5 the total. Tillman against Stroman. I can't believe the decisions by both managers in this game with the starting pitchers. Let's start in Baltimore, where Tillman is a wild card in a wild card game. Just 19 innings pitched, over 4 starts since returning the rotation, Teddy, and he struggled big time in his ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, Tillman had more walks than strikeouts in each of the last 2 starts as well, which is a significant red flag. You look at his career numbers at the Rogers Center, it's a disaster. 2-6 with a 7.01 ERA. And you look at all that stuff, you say, oh my God, what's Showalter thinking? Why on earth would Tillman be there? Well, what has he done this year? Well, he's 0-0 at Rogers Center, but he's got a 2.38 ERA. He's dominated both times, and the Orioles have won both of those starts. Let me read the quote from Chris Tillman, because I think it's worth talking about here. Quote, I think anytime you're able to pitch well somewhere or against a certain team, I think it helps a little bit. But I don't buy into it all that much. Every day is different. Every day you're carrying different stuff. You've got to find a way to navigate every game a different way. I don't dwell on the past too much, but we played well here this year, and it's been fun. I've seen them a lot, and they've seen me a lot. There's no secrets. I know what they're going to do, and they know what I'm going to do. So I had an interesting conversation, Paulie, with a former pitcher. I'm not going to mention his name here, but a former pitcher at a pretty high level. And a guy who I had, very interested in having a conversation with. I don't know that he knew necessarily who I was, but I wanted to press him for information. And I asked him about the ballpark. I'd say, hey, when you go somewhere where you haven't pitched well, is that in your head? Is there a ballpark? And he basically said the same thing that Chris Tillman said. He's like, look, there are nights where I'm dealing it. It doesn't matter if I've struggled in this ballpark. If I'm dealing, they're not going to be able to hit me. When I'm missing my spots, doesn't matter if I've dominated that team 100 times. If I don't have my best stuff, they're live to hit me. So the history for a pitcher in any given venue, yeah, it's a factor. It may not be a key factor, and that's what Chris Tillman's telling us here.
Okay, I would have started Ubaldo, but it's all hands on deck in this one. It's win or go home. So Bundy, Tillman, Ubaldo, they all could get in there for Baltimore, and we'll get to Toronto in a second, but that's Buck's ready to throw anybody out there if he struggles.
Well, yeah, look at the quote. This is Buck Showalter. We had probably 3 options, and Chris is one of those good options. There's not much separated there. We feel good about any of the 3 guys, including Dylan, Bundy, and they all 3 may pitch in the game. I think we look at a certain finality with the starter, but these games usually have a lot of things going on with them that everybody gets to play a big part in it if it's a competitive game. Just because someone's not starting a game doesn't mean they can't be real impactful. So basically, Showalter's saying, if Tillman struggles, who cares? I'll throw in Bundy. If Bundy struggles, who cares? I'll throw in Jimenez. And if those guys all struggle, let's not forget the Baltimore Orioles bullpen since the start of September. 1.70 ERA. That's the best in baseball, and it's a very different number compared to the Toronto Blue Jays with a 4.60 ERA during that span, and they've blown 7 out of 14 save opportunities during that span as well.
Horrible. If it's close, it's a mismatch in Baltimore's favor. With the Jays, they're going with Stroman. I thought they'd go Liriano, who pitched against the Orioles last week and went 6 1/3 and struck out 10 guys. But they're going with Stroman, who he had to rally down the stretch just to get his ERA under 5, and he has been horrible against the Orioles in his career.
I'm with you. Jim Gibbons, quote, I think Stroh's the perfect guy. Big game. I've seen him do it before. He's going to come out throwing strikes, so we're glad he's available. You want your best competitors out there. Stroman, 4 starts against the Orioles this season, 1-2 with a 7.04 ERA. This is the number that stands out to me. 33 hits versus only 12 strikeouts allowed. But like Baltimore, Gibbons made it very clear. Marco Estrada, Francisco Liriano, they'll be available. They'll be ready to go potentially from the second pitch of the ballgame.
And that's key because the Blue Jays screwed around and had to wait until the last day to get in. They burned Happ and they burned Sanchez. So that's why they got to throw Stroman. Even it should be one of their big guns, as you saw what Sanchez did. A great season. All right, that's the American League. Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.